Hey guys, Mike here. So today's cult classic review is 1984's The Karate Kid, starring Ralph Macchio as Daniel. In The Karate Kid, Daniel and his mother moved down to California to start a new life because she's got a new job. However, he's not exactly having the best go of it as he ends up getting in a big feud with the local bullies. He then later finds out that his new friend, Mr. Miyagi, knows karate, so he asks him if he will train him in the ways of karate. And so we have The Karate Kid. So guys, this is another movie in this series before watching and reviewing it today. I had not seen it before. So I will be going over a couple of spoilers for this film, so if you haven't actually seen it, I'd say watch it, then come back to this review. But in all honesty, you've either seen this movie or you know the entire story for it. So, what do I think of The Karate Kid? Well, first of all, I did really like the character of Daniel. He's a likeable character with a lot of charisma, and he is pretty much one of the ultimate underdogs. But at first, the movie wasn't really setting him up to be this ultimate underdog, because right away, he makes a lot of friends, he starts going out and socializing. It's only when, in a moment, it's all taken away from him. And from there, he's not just an underdog because he's new to the area and he has no friends. The story also sets him up as an underdog because he's not as financially well off as other families in the area. And the story just keeps throwing hurdle after hurdle at him, and it just makes him more of an endearing character and you just want to root for him. But honestly, I wouldn't call his character the ultimate underdog though. Because while not everything in his life is going completely well, he does have quite a lot of other things going for him. He comes from a loving family, he's got a girl that likes him, and some of the things that do happen to him in this, he does kind of cause himself. Like there are so many times he could probably de-escalate the situation, but he instead tries to be the macho man or the kind of prankster and make things worse for himself. So there were kind of moments like that where I started to slightly root against him as an underdog. I still really liked his character and I was rooting for him, but it's these kind of points where I was just thinking, well, you're basically just doing this to yourself, mate. The Karate Kid really hits its peak when Daniel and Mr. Miyagi start training together. Now, honestly, I knew how these scenes were going to go, that he was expecting to have these karate lessons, but instead it turns out that he's basically just doing housework for him. Now, I knew how this scene was going to go. He was kind of secretly training him in karate, and then he was going to have this big epiphany and be like, oh wow, I guess this is really helpful after all. But I'm still watching it just thinking, how is all this actually training him in karate? And the scene where he actually does reveal that he has been training him in karate this whole time was just excellent. Even though I knew it was coming, it was just such a great reveal, and it really felt earned from the movie. And just the chemistry between Daniel and Mr. Miyagi is just brilliant. It's one of the ultimate mentor-mentee relationships ever put to film. It's pretty much up there with the likes of Luke and Yoda. The relationship becomes more than mentor-mentee. They start to become really good friends together and even have sort of a father-son relationship as well. And I love the fact they didn't just make Mr. Miyagi's character completely perfect. There were so many scenes where even he didn't know the answers. The scene where they turned up to the karate tournament, he asked him what are the rules, and he's like, I don't know what the rules are. This is my first time going to one as well. And that just really helped making him more of an endearing character. Now, obviously, The Karate Kid is one of the ultimate 80s cliched movies. From the story, the music, the costume, the characters, this is pretty much the pinnacle of 80s cheese. But honestly, this story still holds up today, because The Karate Kid is such a timeless story. At the end of the day, one of the biggest takeaways from The Karate Kid is that its underlining message is about balance. Because though on the surface karate may just seem like a way of defending yourself, it's more than that. It's about achieving balance in more than just physicality, but in spirituality as well. And it basically says that when you achieve balance, you achieve peace. And that's such a powerful message. But I would say though, that my biggest critique of The Karate Kid, and kind of something that did kind of ruin the experience as a whole for me, came with the ending. Because he's in the karate tournament, he's doing really well, it's really good scene, good fight choreography, really entertaining moment in the film. And you know how it's going to go, he's going to fight the bully and he's going to win. Spoiler alert, but I imagine a lot of you already knew that anyway. But my problem with the scene was that he wins, he's given the trophy, and it just ends. Like literally right there, it just ends. There's no kind of wrap up, there's no his life after the karate tournament, there's no more scenes with his girlfriend or with Mr. Miyagi. It just ends right there. And honestly, it just came across as really rushed and jarring. And it did kind of ruin my experience as a whole. But still, rushed ending aside, The Karate Kid is just excellent. So guys, would I consider The Karate Kid a personal cult classic, and would I recommend that you guys should see it? Honestly, The Karate Kid is one of the great cult classic movies of the 80s. It's got a great message, good acting, good fight choreography, it's really funny, and it's just an all-round excellent film. Though, I wouldn't consider this one a personal cult classic. Maybe if I'd watched it when I was much younger, I would have thought a lot more of this film. Obviously, The Karate Kid is still a great movie. I just wouldn't put it as a personal favourite. But as for whether or not you guys should see it, I would still definitely recommend that you should check out The Karate Kid. I imagine a lot of you who are watching this review have already seen the movie. But if you haven't, do yourselves a favour and watch The Karate Kid. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. Okay guys, that's my cult classic review of The Karate Kid. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Whatever you think, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I'll be Michael. See ya.